What if I told you that the prices of sweets in this festive season are directly related to E20 petrol? You would not believe me, but hold on, I have a whole clear explanation for that. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and in today's session we are going to understand the direct link that is with the sugar prices and E20 petrol. So when we are looking at the current situation, the reason we are having this discussion is because of the fact that across one decade we have not seen that India has imported any sugar at all. But this time government has allowed the import of sugar, and that too duty free. And this is where this whole conversation started. As of now, what has happened that India has approved duty free imports of not some minor quantity, 1 million tons of raw sugar, and this duty free period will be applicable till 31st October of this very year. Now, as I said, this is a considerable move given in the fact that in the last decade we have not seen such quantities of import, especially in terms of sugar. And when we are talking about sugar, you should know that India is world's second largest producer. So when we look at the second largest producer importing sugar, that raises question. Now let us try to answer these questions first. So first of all, as you can see, we have the festive season coming in. So that means that the demand for sugar is about to rise. This is a primary factor. We will bring in more factors and then sew the thread out of it. Now in this context, we have to ensure that there is enough quantity which is available. Demand is going to increase, we have understood that. But what about supply? Where it is stationed? As of now, as of August end, the supply of sugar, raw sugar, seems to be limited. Why? We have two big factors here. First, you have to consider the El Nino year and how it is already leading to variable output. The output has been impacted. Apart from that, there have been crop diseases such as red tot and more, which has impacted the sugar production. So first, direct hit has been taken because of weather and diseases factors. Second hit comes from the fact that we are looking at overall lower production estimate in itself. Now when we are looking at expected sugar output, it is to be somewhere around 30.6 million tons from the expected output of 34.3. So automatically we are seeing almost a dip of 3 million tons right in front of us. More can also come into the picture because of this factor. As of now, the demand is increasing, the supply is going off, and that is why we are seeing price rise of sugar. The price rise of sugar has been more than average that we have seen in recent times. And then let us bring a bigger factor into the picture, which is compelling us to import sugar. Now when we are talking about sugarcane, from which sugar is made, it is a multi-purpose product. It can be used to make sugar, yes, but it can be also used to make ethanol. And in our country, which has already achieved the target of E10 early, we are pushing for E20 petrol. There has been conversation launch of E85 petrol. This push for sugarcane towards ethanol seems bigger. And this is the part that we need to talk about today. As of now, large quantities of sugarcane juice, syrup and B-heavy molasses, they are being directly diverted towards ethanol production. If you are looking at year 2025-26, 3 million tons of sugar equivalent was diverted to ethanol. So in this context, let's just say if 30.6 million tons is to be produced, let us delete 3 again. This time it can be more, the push is greater, but let's just assume 3. So we are coming at 27 now. And India's own consumption stands around 28 to 28.5 million tons. So I think you can see that how it is becoming difficult in this situation. Apart from that, India also maintains a carryover stock. So we want to have a 6 million tons of carryover stock, and in this given situation, it seems like that it will be far lesser. So as to ensure two big things, that we have enough stock for the festive season and we are able to control the prices of sugar, the government has allowed the imports. But if you can see, there is a bigger thing that is playing out a huge role, because festive season demand or weather stress, crop stress is something that might be this year, but this is something that is going to play a larger role in coming years, and how this needs to be navigated. So here we can conclude that sugar price hike is an impact of ethanol push, and this push and the price hike, this whole conundrum is going to stay for coming years as well. And this is the reason that we are seeing a dramatic change from a sugar exporter to immediately a sugar importer, because the numbers because of diversion are not adding up, and in this context, to maintain the carryover stock, control the prices of sugar and also not compromise on the push towards ethanol, we have to ensure that we import. And that is why such drastic measure of removal of import duty has been taken. Otherwise, sugar is touching the record high price of 65 rupees per kg in multiple areas, and this is a number that is something very difficult for common man to accommodate for their festive season. So the question here is what government is doing. The government has already restricted the sugar exports. The government has cut down on the import duty. The government has limited the speculative accumulation that was taking place, and government is also considering that we how reduce our dependence on sugarcane and consider other grains for the push of ethanol. Can you tell me in the comment section which are the other grains can be considered for the push towards ethanol? And in this context, this raises a much bigger question. The fact that can India balance the food? Because if we are talking about grains, then that is also going to impact the food prices, because the supply and demand situation will come there as well. And can we manage fuel with it and the prices? Because when we are looking at ethanol, it is not something that is absolutely useless. We have to understand the significance here, that how it directly helps us in ensuring energy security, lower crude dependence, and probably in future lower prices for petrol also. But when we are talking about achieving this, it cannot come with a compromise on stocks and prices which are going to hurt the consumer. So if we are paying less here, we might have to pay more here. So how this needs to be balanced? This is going to be the food for thought for you. Let me know in the comment section that what India should do. Some pointers from my end, that as of now, India just not needs to think about how to manage this situation. India immediately needs to focus on more resilient sugarcane production, especially in the context of weather stress and diseases. Second factor that can come into the picture is that how we want to do ethanol diversion, but at the same time without compromising on food availability. This is something that we need to figure out in short term in terms of planning. Apart from that, diversification towards grain-based ethanol, buffer stocks to be maintained before going into crushing season or moving towards ethanol diversification. All these needs to be considered so as to ensure that a policy that balances the consumer, that balances the farmers and also energy security. Because anything going down is going to ultimately harm the nation itself. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. I'll be leaving you here with a prelims practice question. 3 questions for you. Again, because it's a very broad topic, this is the second question and this is the third question. Now that was all from my side. Thank you so much.